Welcome to All Things Circular, hosted by Rich Bulger, Victoria Darcy, Peter Evans and Damian Polak. This is where we unpack what really happens after first use and why it matters for business, for resources, and for the future of technology. Through honest conversations with industry leaders and practitioners, we explore what the circular economy looks like in the real world. No hype, just insight. Let's get into it.
Hello, I'm Rich Bulger with All Things Circular, and I'm here at NRF Rev. It's a new city, new venue, and I've got some new friends that I've met along the way and a familiar face. Damian, take it away.
Hi, everyone. So we're coming live to you from NRF Rev in NYC with some of my good old friends that I came up with in the liquidation world. So today we're going to just do a quick little recap. The show is ending. There's a happy hour going on that I know these boys want to get to. So we're going to just break down what we learned, what we saw, who we met, and the cool things that happened and why you should come next year.
Introduce your friends.
I'm Tom Schultz. I'm the owner of Liquidation Motivation, a YouTube channel that talks about the liquidation business. We have 4 bin stores. We have a big warehouse. We do everything liquidation, anything that we can get our hands on.
Well, I'm at the bottom, Tom Pound in the bin store. We are in the world's largest bin store in Lakeland, Florida.
I'm Ben Davis. I own Bin Mania out of Ohio, and we deal with every type of liquidation you can imagine.
So the energy is actually lifting me up, which is a fun change of pace at this environment. So a lot of energy, a lot of passion, and we're going to talk all things circular.
Okay, let's start off with asking, what kind of value do you get out of the show, guys? Why is it worth it to come to the show? Why do we make these trips, go on these trips every year in order to make these connections?
And spend our time and hard-earned money, right, to come out here and network and rub shoulders with the right people. That's my answer. Network and be in the right room with the right individuals who can make a difference in my business and in the whole liquidation industry as a whole.
I got involved with the Reverse Logistics Association when I was a director at Cisco. I actually served on the advisory board of the RLA. And the reason why I like this event is during my career, spending time at Verizon running reverse logistics for them, the first time I heard about a reverse logistics title, I had no idea what reverse logistics was. There's no education on how to handle returns. There's tons of degrees in finance, sales, leadership, manufacturing for logistics, but nothing on reverse. So what I found coming to NRF Rev and the RLA is I could work with people that had similar problems with me. And in a corporate ecosystem, there's no one else that I could partner with to find answers to the problems that I had. When I was in sales, if I had a sales result that was falling, I would find the district manager that had the best sales results, call them and adopt their best practices. But in the corporate world, in your own ecosystem, those people just didn't exist. So I had to come to places like this to meet people that were solving the same type of problems. And that's how I was able to go through and learn and train myself.
Right. From the retail side, guys?
Yeah. So for me, it's really more about the education. And again, like they mentioned, the networking. The networking is huge at this event because one thing he touched on was there's no education behind any of this. There's no this issue you need to hit, this issue you get the load from, and this is how you're going to sell it. There's none of that across the board. So you're just shooting blind. You're throwing money everywhere. But when you get in the room with the right mindset and the right amount of people who know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, that knowledge flourishes, and it flourishes like crazy, not only through the keynote speakers, the round tables, heck, even the lunches were educational because you got to sit down in more of an intimate moment with those people and just, bond over this whole idea that there's money behind the item that somebody didn't want. It's pretty much a room of everybody talking about another man's trash is another man's treasure at the end of the day. And finding those people that have that passion that I do for this whole reverse side is absolutely amazing. And NRF is where it's at for that particular passion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about getting in front of these people and meeting them face to face. And I feel that is the best way to do business and get more contacts. And if we can get one more contact in this show, then it's a success. So,
yeah, that's always my goal. Every time I go to the show, I just want to make one contact that impacts my business, that impacts my life, and could be a new revenue stream for me. So for those of you that don't know, this show is really tailored toward the technology behind the retailers, the big companies, the Amazons. That I saw Dick's Sporting Goods here. I see all these major companies here, and then the tech that is trying to fulfill their needs. And so how does that fit in with liquidators? Now, if you got a company designing tech to make the returns, what are they going to do with the returns? And you need to make those connections with those companies in order to try to buy those loads and try to prosper and help yourself help your company grow. So, and this is a totally different show than we're used to going to, right? It's normally big liquidator selling to little liquidator.
I feel like, everybody's used to the ASD Market Week and like WHSL, right? That's the show type that they're used to, like the buyers exhibiting or the sellers exhibiting, buyers walking the floor, right? This is more, hey, we have problems. We're retailers, distributors, whoever that's touching inventory. We're in the supply chain. We have issues and we need partners in strategic collaborative efforts to help us solve this problem.
Right. How can you help us solve the problems that we have at hand?
So one of the other things I love about this particular conference, and when I wrote my book, Going Circular, the evolution of reverse logistics into a competitive weapon, you learn that the secondary supply chain is different than the linear supply chain. When you make, distribute, and sell, how returns are managed and moved for the secondary ecosystem is different. You've got your tier one return store.
This changed my life, by the way. I had to read the book, and after I read it, I'm like, holy smokes. I've been doing this whole like wholesale and liquidation business completely backwards. Yeah, please consider this is good stuff. So listen,
So
Hype man.
yeah, you have your brands, right? Like a Verizon, Apple, Samsung, Motorola, their brands. These brands have their own carabas. You have distributors, the people that will go through and buy all the different brands and sell them through their channels and buy all the different accessories and things that you need to go through and sell. And then you've got the person who buys the product. When the entity that buys it wants to return it in a linear way, there's resistance. There's policies. There's, do you pay shipping? Do you not pay shipping? Is there a restocking fee or their commission charge back? So it's easy to sell, hard to return. But when that thing comes back, your brands, your retailers, your distributors all have different ways and different challenges that they have with liquidation. Like a brand might not want to liquidate because they fear cannibalization and they're tied into brand protection. Your distributor might want to liquidate a lot because if the brand doesn't give them their money back, they've got to go through and find value. There's return reasons you want to drive down, like someone buying and changing their mind. There's return reasons that you want to compel returns up, like trade-in, product as a service, lease. So in the secondary supply chain, you got your first place that customers return, it's a tier one supply source. They'll go through. When I was at Verizon, I had to sell 8 million devices, generate $1.6 billion in revenue with a team of 8. I couldn't sell to people wanting to buy lots of 20 or 30 because the same amount of time it takes to sell $1 million lot could be the same amount of time it takes to negotiate $2,000, $3,000 lots. So we would sell to what I call tier two folks, people who could buy millions, take pallets of stuff, and then break down the pallets to get them to their next step, your tier threes. They might be in country, they might be out of country. And then the entity that would pay the most amount is the end customer. You could touch them through liquidation. You could touch them by selling directly to the customer in a certified pre-owned value generation process. Tons of different ways to go through, generate value and move velocity, money through. And what I found at the NRF Rev event is you meet people that live in all of the different ecosystems. You meet companies that go through and provide software and service for a variety of reasons why things can come back, or solutions for a variety of ways to get product out. And they're all here. So learning how inventory moved as I've worked in different parts of the secondary supply chain has helped me learn how to go through and have an impact.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of what set me off on a completely different path of hunting down liquidation supplies and returns and truckloads and, the stuff that we're used to in the bin store world, discount store world. It's, there's different reasons and there's different strategies of how these returns happen and why and, who's touching it when, and figuring out each program individually based on geographics, based on location, based on needs, based on suppliers, based on how their forward logistics is set up is going to dictate on how the reversed and returns happen now, right? So cracking the reason why is the ultimate answer. That's how you find the reliable sources and the reliable solutions, right? Why is this product getting put in here? Why is this product getting liquidated through whatever supplier that's getting it, right? So, yeah. Like I said, changed my whole perspective, and I highly recommend you guys read this book.
We're definitely going to read the book. So, guy, you just got a little master class there for 5 minutes on how the liquidation, how reverse logistics works there, guys. So, listen, this show is for everybody, every size company, everybody in the liquidation business. You know, I mean, I was just brainstorming, like, should a small guy come to this show? But even if some of these things don't really fit in your plan and your business plan, you're going to meet 100 new people. You're going to talk to.
And they'll teach you how to speak this language, right? Now, if you're on the phone with the sales rep, trying to secure some supply, whatever it might be you're buying, it allows you to see through the BS that somebody might be feeding you, because now you're a little bit more educated, you're a little bit more knowledgeable, you understand how that return, because I've had brokers and people trying to sell me loads that I know for a fact do not or shouldn't or whatever do not exist. And I'm like, I sat at a table at RLA with the head of that reverse logistics company, and I know for a fact that these loads I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on here, but I don't care enough to find out, but I'm staying away. This isn't a deal for me. And that is one of those things that you can only experience if you put yourself in the room with the people that are actually doing the work in the industry that you play it.
100% education is key.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ben, you have, I'm going to pour into the liquidation motivation I saw this morning.
Okay.
When you were up at 7 o'clock in the morning doing a walk run with some of us, to spend time with Ben. And for the listeners of All Things Circular, we've got a lot of college students that come through and are using this podcast to get education. So
it's a liquidation with job force, right? Like you need a skilled job force now to produce for these 100%. Companies that are at these shows.
Yeah.
The people that listen to our podcast haven't really heard much about liquidation. They've heard about it through Damian. But one of the things we like to do in our podcast is bust myths. You take a perception that exists in the industry and ground it in reality, not in fear or perception. And one of the myths that exists that I hear all the time on our podcast is if you buy something used or if you buy something through a value generation outlet like liquidation, it's a bad customer experience. And I would classify the way that you described your business, you have a maniacal focus on delivering a great customer experience.
100%.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about what we talked about this morning on our walk run?
Yeah, 100%. So Ben stores, discount stores, we rely heavily on foot traffic, right? We have to compete with all kinds of major brands, especially when you're at the level we are. So we really focus on how can we get that customer really, 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 really happy before they leave the store, and how can we put our experience par none based on everybody else. And one of the simple things, just to keep it short, is what we say at the end of every single transaction. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.
Which is it stuck with me now.
Fantastic though. Whenever a customer hears it, they're like, "Oh, that's funny," and they laugh about it, right? So that way, it puts a smile on their face right before they walk out of the door, and that's a last positive experience, because your cashier is your gold mine, right? That cashier is what's going to determine whether that customer comes back or doesn't. Because if they have a bad experience with that cashier, boom, they're gonna have. It doesn't matter what they did for the rest of the day in your store. They are going to focus on that bad experience. But if they have that great experience at the end right there, doesn't matter what happened at the rest of the day, they are going to be like, you know what? That cashier was amazing, and I want to come back.
And I had a fantastic day.
And the fantastic word, though, it sticks in your head, and you don't forget it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Fantastic. So they love it when you say it at the end of your transaction.
So when you're dealing with a retail store that's matching supply and demand, used supply and used demand, or unwanted supply with demand, a lot of the same pain points that exist in corporate retail, planograms, making sure lights are on, making sure employees have friendly faces when they come in, is
100%.
similar and transferable experience.
Yes.
From different parts of the sales supply chain. So I enjoyed that conversation. And I had a fantastic day thanks to our talk.
Well, I'm glad I got up this morning. That makes it all worth it.
And thank you guys for paying attention to another mini episode of All Things Circular. I'm Rich Bulger with my friends,
Damian,
Tom,
Ben,
all right, and if my viewers want to find some liquidation motivation, how can they find you? Because clearly you're taking energy up to another level.
yeah, go to liquidationmotivation.com, Liquidation Motivation on YouTube. All of my information is there. My phone number is there. You can text me directly. You know, everything liquidation.
guys, remember, everybody loves liquidations. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you right on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in. Please head over to allthingscircular.com to learn more.